Hi, Professor Grunlin here. Hey, let's talk about the digestive system. One of the characteristics of living organisms is metabolism, and metabolism requires energy and raw materials, which they get through nutrients. For humans, that requires a digestive system. Let's talk about the basic digestive processes first. Then we'll talk about the organs that carry out those processes. So the processes include ingestion, that one's obvious, propulsion, or sometimes called motility, so things like swallowing, peristalsis, segmentation. Another process is digestion. Here we talk about mechanical or chemical digestion. Mechanical meaning you're physically making big particles smaller, like by chewing, and chemical where you're breaking chemical bonds, so you're taking proteins, for example, and breaking them down into amino acids. A fourth process is absorption. This is the whole purpose. You're trying to get those nutrients with their energy into the body. And then fifth, elimination, or sometimes called defecation. The GI tract itself is one long tube. I mean really long tube, about 20 feet long. It's the tube that the food actually moves through as it's being processed. Starts with the mouth, move to the pharynx, then the esophagus, then the stomach, next the small intestine, then the large intestine with the rectum and the anus. We're also going to want to discuss some accessory organs. Food does not go through these organs. Instead, these organs produce or store secretions that will be used in the GI tract during the digestive processes. The accessory organs include the salivary gland, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. The walls of the GI tract itself are composed of 4 layers: the innermost mucosa, submucosa, the muscularis, which helps move food through the tube, and then a protective outer coating called a serosa. Those layers are going to be highly modified depending on the function of the organ. Pay attention to those changes as you're going through the chapter. Let's put some of those organs and processes together. In the mouth, you obviously have ingestion. You also have mechanical and chemical digestion. Mechanical in the form of mastication or chewing, and chemical because saliva is going to start the breakdown of starches. These actions are going to produce a bolus of food, which is then swallowed. Hey, did you know that swallowing is technically called deglutition? That bolus of food is going to move into the pharynx and then the esophagus. Here we just have propulsion, or in the form of peristalsis. We get to the stomach and we have both mechanical and chemical digestion again. Mechanical through the action of churning, and chemical because we start the breakdown of proteins. When we get through the stomach, that bolus is now called chyme. And that's what moves into the small intestine. The small intestine is a really active organ. You have mechanical digestion in the form of segmentation. Tons of chemical digestion. So the liver makes bile. Bile is stored in the gallbladder. Bile is secreted into the small intestine where it's used to emulsify fats. The pancreas secretes enzymes that break down all of the different kinds of nutrients. They're going to be secreted into the small intestine also and used there. And the small intestine itself makes enzymes that are going to be involved with chemical digestion. The small intestine is the major site for absorption of nutrients. We're going to have what's left over move into that large intestine. We do have some chemical digestion, not so much by our own enzymes, but by some of the bacteria that live down there, and lots of absorption of water and some vitamins, and then propulsion. We're going to store the leftovers in the rectum and have it pass out through the anus. That's sort of the gist of it. I'm going to let you fill out the details as you're going through your learning objectives using your textbook and your videos. Notice that the chapter includes regulation of the digestive processes and introduces you to several hormones that we're going to need in upcoming chapters. Drop me an email if you have any questions.